The light flickers. I used to wake to the smell of morning bread rising in my old kitchen, sunlight sneaking through lace curtains. The day I woke in the hospital, the light was a cold, white hum above my head. My world had shrunk to a bed, a beeping machine, and the faint taste of metal on my tongue. I didn't remember falling. Only the thud of my heartbeat before darkness swallowed me whole. Somewhere in that darkness I heard voices. My son's sharp whisper, his wife's weary sigh. Doctor said she's not waking up. We can't keep her like this forever, Daniel. Their words forded through the fog, strange, distorted, as if spoken through water. The accident 2 weeks earlier, life had still been ordinary. I'd slipped on the wet porch steps, groceries scattering, my hip shattering the moment it met concrete. I remember the ambulance lights painting the street red, my neighbor's frightened face, then nothing. They told me later my heart stopped twice on the operating table. Machines breathed for me, tubes fed me. My family waited for a miracle that doctors said wouldn't come. Daniel, my son, my pride once. I'd raised him on stories and faith and homemade soup. After his father died, Daniel became the reason I woke every morning. But somewhere between the long nights and his new marriage, he built a wall between us. Now through the haze of half-dreams I heard his voice. Older, tired, impatient. How long do we keep doing this? Emma. Emma's answer, his wife's voice, was softer though not kind. She wouldn't want to live like this. You told me she hated hospitals. They spoke as if I were already gone. I wanted to scream. I'm here, I can hear you. But my lips were stone, my eyes sealed by invisible hands. Inside the fog there's a place between life and death where time forgets to move. I floated there, half memory, half prayer. I saw Daniel at 10 holding my hand in the rain. I saw him at 20 leaving for college, promising to call. I saw him now, grown afraid, standing at my bedside, trying to be brave while talking about ending me. The hospital room beeping. The rhythmic gasp of the ventilator. The sterile scent of bleach. Nurses moved like ghosts. I felt their hands turn me, clean me, whisper words I couldn't answer. Sometimes my granddaughter Lily came. I knew her by her humming. She'd hum lullabies under her breath, brush my hair and say, "Hi Grandma, it's me." Her voice was sunlight through thick clouds. The family meeting, I caught fragments one night when the curtain wasn't drawn. A doctor, clipboard in hand, said brain activity minimal. Prognosis poor. Daniel's voice cracked. Are you sure there's nothing? We've run every test. Emma asked, almost rehearsed. If we decide to remove support, what happens? The words sliced through the fog. Memory of bread in the dark. I remembered kneading dough beside my mother, fire on my wrists, laughter filling the kitchen. Life was warm then. I whispered inside myself, God, if you're still listening, give me one more morning. The sign of life, Nurse Carla noticed first. A twitch in my finger when Lily held my hand. Could be reflex. Another nurse said. But Carla leaned closer, whispered, Mary, if you can hear me, squeeze. I tried every ounce of will pushed through the fog. My hand trembled once, enough for her to gasp. The debate outside the door. Daniel. The nurse said. She moved. Emma. Reflex. Don't torture yourself. Daniel, what if? Emma, she wouldn't want this. She told you after your father passed, remember? A long silence, then Daniel's voice low. Don't know anymore. Lily's promise that night. Lily slipped in after visiting hours. She sat close and whispered into my ear, Grandma, they think you can't hear. But I know you can. Please, a fight. Just blink for me, please. Her tears hit my hand like warm rain. And somewhere inside me something shifted. Crossroads, dreams blurred with memories, the sound of church bells, Daniel's first steps, the smell of rain on old wood. My father's voice echoed. You don't quit living until you've said what must be said. I wasn't done. I needed to tell my son I forgave him. For the distance, for the coldness that grew between us. I pulled at the darkness until it cracked. The breath morning light hit my eyelids. I felt its warmth for the first time in months. My lungs stuttered. My fingers curled. A beep changed tempo. Carla shouted, she's responding. The world tilted, then flooded with sound, the rush of nurses, the cry of my name, Daniel's voice breaking, Mom. I tried to open my eyes. A sliver of light, the outline of his face, to be continued. The awakening light burned behind my eyelids as if the sun had crept too close. My tears scraped through tubes. Then voices. Real, alive, urgent. Her eyes, did you see that? A nurse gasped. The blur sharpened into Daniel's face, older than I remembered, streaked with tears. Mom, it's me, Daniel. I tried to form words. Nothing but air escaped. But my eyes opened fully now, blinking against the brightness. He gripped my hand as if it were the only thing anchoring him to the earth. You're here. Oh, God, you're here. Fragments of life. The days that followed were pieces of a broken mirror slowly reassembling. I couldn't move much. Couldn't speak. My body felt like a stranger, but my mind was a storm of remembering. Emma stood in the doorway most days, stiff-backed, guilt stitched into her posture. She'd murmur polite things to nurses, rarely meeting my eyes. Daniel sat by my bed for hours, whispering apologies into the sheets. The whisper of regret. I listened to the sounds that filled my new world. The soft hiss of oxygen, the shuffle of feet, the faint hum of machines keeping me tethered. One night Daniel thought I was asleep. His voice broke the silence. "I almost let them take you, Mom. I signed the papers." "God forgive me," Emma's whisper followed. "We thought it was mercy, a mercy, such a fragile, cruel word." The visitor Lily burst in the next morning with her school sweater still on. "Grandma." Her joy filled the room like sunlight breaking glass. She pressed her little palm against mine. Eyes shining. "You came back to me." For her, I managed my first sound, a rasp, braff prayer. Lily. Her gasp turned into a sob. She spoke. "Dad." She spoke. The confrontation, the hospital air thickened when Emma finally spoke to me alone. She perched on the edge of the chair, her voice brittle. "You have to understand. We thought it was what you'd want." I blinked slowly, each movement heavy but deliberate. She continued. "Daniel couldn't handle it anymore. The bills, the waiting. I told him letting go might be kinder." A tear escaped the corner of my eye. She looked away. "I never hated you, Emma," I whispered, barely audible. "I just wanted to live long enough to say I love you all." Her composure shattered. The weight of silence, days blurred into one another. Therapists coaxed movement from my stiff hands. Words returned in fragments. Daniel rarely left my side. Sometimes he'd trace the wrinkles on my hands, whispering, "You always said I was stubborn. Guess I learned from the best." I smiled weakly. "You gave up too soon." He nodded, eyes glistening. "I won't again." The release form. Licks later, a social worker entered with a clipboard. "Your insurance renewal requires your son's consent, Mrs. Thompson," she said gently. Daniel's face tensed. I saw fear flicker there, old habits of responsibility and resentment battling inside him. I reached for his hand. "I'll manage, dear. Don't let my living become your burden." He pressed my fingers to his lips. "You're not a burden. You're my mother." But his eyes wavered. And I knew the world beyond that hospital would test those words. The memory garden rehab brought me to the hospital courtyard, a patch of green surrounded by glass walls. Lily pushed my wheelchair, chattering about school and stars. The sun touched my face. I closed my eyes and inhaled the scent of soil and jasmine. "Grandma," Lily said softly, "Dad cries at night." I heard him. "I know, sweetheart. Do you still love him?" I smiled faintly. "Love doesn't vanish, Lily. It just waits for us to remember it." Homecoming. When they finally discharged me, Daniel wheeled me through our front door. Everything smelled faintly of dust and lavender polish. My old clock still ticked on the wall. Emma hovered, setting down soup, blankets, anything to fill the silence. I thanked her, meaning it. But under the kindness something fragile trembled, an unspoken apology neither of us knew how to voice. That night, I heard them argue softly upstairs. Guilt laced their whispers. I stared at the ceiling and wondered if forgiveness could really live among walls built from regret. The letter. I began writing again, my hand shaky but determined. I wrote letters, to Daniel, to Emma, to Lily. To Daniel, "Don't carry the weight of that decision forever. I forgive you. You acted out of fear, not cruelty." To Emma, "I see how much you love my son. Just remember, compassion is not a weakness." To Lily, "You saved me. Never stop believing in small miracles." I folded the letters and placed them in my bedside drawer, knowing some words are meant to be found after we're gone. The quiet dinner. One evening, Daniel cooked dinner. Simple pasta, bread, a small glass of wine. We ate mostly in silence, the kind that hums with unfinished stories. He lifted his glass. "To second chances," I smiled, "to learning how fragile love really is." Emma's eyes. Lily squeezed my arm. For a fleeting moment, it felt like family again, cracked but still holding together. The unfinished prayer. Night fell softly. The house was still. I sat by my window, the oxygen tube whispering beside me. The moonlight laid silver across my hands. I thought about death, about the strange mercy of being given one more chance, only to see how broken things truly were. My heart felt both full and hollow. Daniel slept upstairs, Emma's shadow beside him, Lily dreaming down the hall. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Thank you for letting me wake," even if it was only to say goodbye properly. The wind outside carried my words somewhere beyond the glass, maybe to God, maybe to the woman I used to be. And though I didn't know how many mornings were left, I smiled, because for once the choice to live, or to let go, was finally mine. End.